Hey everyone, welcome to MuseThemes.com. This is Ashton, back with another widget release today, simply called our Like button. It's very straightforward in functionality, but really cool and unique to Muse. It allows you to put a like and/or dislike button anywhere on your site where your users can click to vote, generating real-time results that are recorded and stored through a back-end product called LikeButton.com. That's likebtn.com. Now, since Muse doesn't use a CMS to track data from button clicks and counters, the only way to have a button like this on your site is to integrate it with a service like LikeButton, where you get all the integration tools you need to link it right up to our widget, and all statistics are stored internally at likebutton.com for anytime review. So let's jump into Muse and take a look at how we get this thing set up in Muse and how we integrate it with likebutton.com. First thing we're going to do is drag the widget out from the library and drop it onto our page. Perfect. Now we can't do a whole lot until we get our likebutton.com account set up, but I want to check out the settings panel really quick before we do so that we know what we're looking for. We have several drop-downs here with various customization and styling options, but above all of that is our site ID and button tracking name. Our button tracking name only comes into play when you're using multiple instances of this widget on the website. It allows the browser to differentiate between the uses. And it's something that you can come up with, not something you need to find in your account. The site ID, however, will be generated at likebutton.com, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So you can go to your browser and go to likebutton.com, and that's likebtn.com, or simply click our handy little link provided here on the bottom of the panel, and we're taken there automatically just like that. So we're going to need to create a new account, and you can do so by clicking Login, and then register. So we'll go ahead and type our email, ashton@MuseThemes.com, and a password. There. And then click register. Perfect. And you'll be taken right to your page to add websites, which is exactly what we want. Now, you're also going to receive a confirmation email with a link that you're going to need to click to finish activating your account, but for demonstrating right now, we're already good to go. Now, as you can see here, we're prompted with a place to add the domain name for the website in which your button or buttons will appear. Now, it is required that the domain name be listed here on the account in order for the program to communicate with the website itself. However, of course, often during your site development process, you might not have the domain ready or have the site published yet. So you are provided here with an option to select Local, which will allow functionality on your site previews. So we're going to select Local, and we still need to type in a website address, which we're going to get from our Muse browser preview URL bar. Now let me show you what I mean. Let's switch back over to Muse. And I'm just going to simply preview our page in a browser. There's nothing set up here yet, which is okay. All we need is a bit of URL info. There we go. Now you can ignore this here on the page because we're not finished with our setup for the widget yet. What we need here is this string of numbers before the first slash. So we'll select it and hit Command-C or Control-C to copy. Jump back to our web page, and we'll paste this right in the domain name field. And we'll go ahead and get rid of that HTTP for now since this is just local. And then simply click Add Website. Perfect. Now it may take a few moments to load, but you'll then be taken to your main account area with all the information that you're going to need. And then keep in mind, later, once you know your exact domain for the website, you can always add it by going to the drop-down by Actions and clicking Add Domain to the website. So now we can see two new pieces of information here for our site, the latter of which being the site ID. So we're going to go ahead and select the entire string, copy it, jump back to Muse, and paste it under Site ID in our settings panel. Perfect. Now before we do anything else, let's give this a new browser preview. And voila, we already have a like and dislike button ready for action, and it's totally clickable as well. Now, before we get into the styling of the widget, I want to jump back to the Like Button website once more. If we go up here to Pricing, You're definitely going to want to peruse this page for more information to see which package would be best for you. Now don't worry, there is a free option, which is all you're going to need if you're just going to use one button throughout your site, and it comes with unlimited likes. But if you need more buttons or some of these other really cool features, there are tons of options to view here. And right now it's defaulting to the annual pricing, so just make sure to click on the terms that you're interested in. If you want monthly, you'll just need to toggle over to this tab. So definitely check this out for more information. But back to Muse, we'll jump back inside our panel. We've already got our site ID, which is good. And as I mentioned, our button tracking name is something that you come up with on your own. This creates a unique name that is used by MuseThemes.com to track the stats for each individual button. Now, if you're only using one button on your site, you don't even need to worry about this. So now we have 4 different drop-downs here with numerous styling options. We have our general settings, settings for both the like and dislike button, as well as tooltip settings, which is just the little message that appears by the cursor when hovering over it. Now there's a ton to work with here, from fonts, colors, icons, styles, so I'm not going to cover each and every one in great detail, but I'm going to touch on some of the more noteworthy ones. But before I do, let's talk about positioning. This widget element here that you see on the Muse canvas acts as your placeholder for the button, so you're going to want to place this element accordingly. And furthermore, the positioning of the button itself is anchored to the very top left corner of this poster. We have a handful of other widgets in our library just like this. So if you have a really precise position you need this placed in, as if you were going to maybe try to line it up with some leader text or something, this top left tip is your starting point. So back in the panel, let's go to General Styling. Now as you figured out, you have the ability to have a like button and or a dislike button, and you can do any combination of that with tooltips that you choose. So pretty much anything and everything can be enabled or disabled. So under General, you can customize the padding here between the like and dislike buttons. And below that, you have various font, sizing, and color settings. And down here we have Counter Animation on Load, which you can select on or off if you want a counting up animation to occur for the numbers displaying the current vote count. And Button Animation on Vote, it's defaulting to none, but you can drop down to several various animations to select from for when the button is actually clicked. So let's jump into our like button settings. First option allows you to toggle the like button specifically on or off, and then a drop down here for various icons to pick from for how the button will actually look, which is pretty cool. We have our icon color for before and after click, button label, if you wanted to actually say like or dislike next to the icon, and then here you can actually change that label if you choose, and you can customize its wording for before and after clicking as well. Jumping into dislike really quick, we have almost identical settings that you can customize separately for the dislike button. The most notable difference here being the varying icon selections. Of course, now we have icons that are more appropriate for disliking. And then finally, our tooltip settings. This is that small wording that appears near your cursor when you hover over a button. So here you can turn them on or off, and you can select their style. And then here you can customize the message for both buttons, and you can do it pre and post click for each. So that's about it for our Muse settings. There is one more thing I want to point out in the like button portal, so let's jump back to our browser. I'm going to click the back button so we're back to our website portal. And we're going to click down here where it says Reports. This is a pretty nifty area you can check out as well, which gives you really detailed breakdowns of which buttons have been clicked. Of course, we clicked like once on our first preview, so that's being reflected here. But it's a pretty awesome tool and is here at your disposal whenever you get started. So that's our like button widget. Thanks again, as always, for joining us. Have fun with this one, guys, and if any issues arise, as usual, don't hesitate to drop us a note in support. Thanks.